Good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, many years ago, a wise man wrote, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." That line, buried deep in ancient text, is more than a poetic phrase. It is a law, a truth, a mirror. And today, I want to speak plainly to you about the danger of thinking like a loser. Not because you are one, but because you're thinking maybe. And there's a world of difference. You see, failure is not a state of being. It's a state of mind. It's not what the world does to you. It's what you do to yourself, quietly, invisibly, in the thoughts you tolerate and the beliefs you whisper when no one else is around. Most people do not live. They exist. They shuffle through their days, fearing change, resenting success, blaming luck, and shrinking from responsibility. They build excuses instead of futures. And without knowing it, they've agreed to think like losers. But here's the truth. No one is born a loser, and no one is born a winner. We are born only as potential. What we become is entirely determined by one thing: how we think. You show me a man who's poor in spirit, and I'll show you a man who has thought himself into poverty. You show me a man who's bitter, envious, and small, and I'll show you a man whose thinking has grown twisted by neglect. We are what we dwell upon. What we allow into the theater of our minds will play out in the stage of our lives. And if you've been thinking like a loser, perhaps it's time to close the curtain, clean the stage, and begin again. Because here sits the good news. You can, no matter how long you've been stuck, beaten, or forgotten, one clear decision can begin to change everything. But it begins not in action, not in struggle, but in thought, in belief, in identity. You must see yourself as the person you wish to become, long before the world does. The man who wins is not the man who tries harder than the rest. It is the man who thinks differently, the one who refuses to accept limitation, the one who understands that fear is a liar, failure is a teacher, and purpose is everything. A loser thinks in excuses. A winner thinks in cause and effect. A loser blames his circumstances. A winner builds new ones. A loser says, "That sets just how I am." A winner says, "That sets who I was." If you want to stop being defeated by life, stop allowing defeat to take root in your mind. Because if you let it stay there, it will become your identity. And once it becomes identity, it becomes destiny. But you can change your destiny by changing your thinking. Start now. Right now. Begin by rejecting every lie that says you're not enough. Replace it with truth, that you were designed not for mediocrity but for greatness, that you are capable, strong, and needed. That the world is waiting on the best version of you to show up. The tragedy of most lives is not failure, but smallness. Not that a man tried and lost, but that he never dared to try at all. He lived under the spell of limitation, not placed upon him by fate, but chosen by habit. You see, thinking like a loser doesn't require malice. It's subtle. It grows slowly. It shows up as laziness, procrastination, envy, and self-doubt. A man doesn't suddenly wake up with a ruined life. He wakes up after years of poor thinking, of letting fears make decisions, of letting comfort become a prison. But the man who wins at life, the one we admire, the one whose eyes carry peace and purpose, he chose different thoughts, and he did it over and over again, long before anyone noticed the results. This is a law of mind. We become what we consistently think, and that law, like gravity, makes no exceptions. If your thoughts are small, so will your life be. If your thoughts are bitter, your heart will rot. If your thoughts are fearful, your courage will evaporate. But if your thoughts are noble, purposeful, and bold, then your life must rise to meet them. The road to a meaningful life is paved with disciplined thinking, not perfect thinking, disciplined thinking. And discipline begins with awareness. Ask yourself, what am I allowing in my mind every day? What voices am I listening to? What do I repeat when I step in alone with myself? Because that internal dialogue becomes your outer reality. You can read every book, Attend every seminar, but if your internal voice still says, you can't, you're late, or you're not enough, then you'll sabotage everything you touch. Thinking like a loser is easy. It requires nothing. It's automatic in a world that rewards distraction and punishes vision. But thinking like a winner? That takes intention. That takes standing guard at the door of your mind and saying, I will not allow small, defeated, fearful thoughts to live here anymore. It means choosing thoughts that lift you, challenge you, honor your purpose. It means catching yourself when you complain and replacing it with gratitude. It means catching yourself when you blame and replacing it with ownership. It means catching yourself when you shrink and daring to expand. Because here's the truth. No one is coming to think for you. No one is going to rescue your future from your bad habits of thought. If you do not change what you allow in your mind, nothing else will matter. The loser says, Soba, why me? The winner says, Ses, why not me? The loser sees a wall. The winner looks for the door. The loser hears criticism and hides. The winner hears truth and adapts. What matters is not where you are, but how you think. Because from your thoughts, your actions are born. From your actions, your habits are born. From your habits, your identity is formed. And from your identity, your life takes shape. So if you want to live like a winner, you must think like one long before the results show up. Now I know there's a voice inside you right now that might be saying, Stephen, that Earl, you don't start know my past. You don't start know my story. And you still right, I don't cest. But I do know this, your past is not your sentence unless you choose to keep reading from the same old script. The only power the past holds is the power you keep handing it. And thinking like a loser is often just reliving past moments of weakness and calling them truth. But the truth is not your pain. The truth is not your failure. The truth is not your history. The truth is your potential. And it's untouched by what came before. My friend, the mind is a sacred garden, and thoughts are seeds. You can plant bitterness, envy, regret, or you can plant courage, belief, and discipline. But whatever you plant, you will harvest. That's SEP's not philosophy. That's SEP's reality. Look around at your life, your job, your habits, your relationships. Each one is a reflection of the thoughts you've allowed to grow. And if you don't like the crop, change the seed. You're not stuck. You're just rooted in old thinking. Uproot it. Tear it out by the roots, if you must, and plant again. This time, plant deliberately. Wake up each day and choose thoughts that serve your purpose, not your fear. When you walk past a mirror, don't look for flaws. Look for responsibility. Look for opportunity. Look for someone who's been given another 24 hours to change the course of their life. Winners live with intentionality. Losers drift. Winners ask better questions. What can I control today? What did I learn from yesterday? What does the best version of me do right now? Losers ask, why is this happening to me? What if I fail again? What if they don't set like me? One mindset builds strength. The other breeds weakness. You cannot move forward carrying thoughts that drag you back. And if there's one thing I want to drive into your heart today, it's this. You do not have to earn the right to think like a winner. You simply have to choose it. You don't need permission. You don't need applause. You don't need the world to agree with you. You just need to begin. Quietly, privately, and repeatedly. Every morning. Every evening, you must feed your mind with thoughts that match the life you want, not the one you fear. Because you're always becoming something. The only question is, what are you becoming? If your thinking is careless, your life will be scattered. If your thinking is reactive, your future will be shaped by impulse. But if your thinking is intentional, your life will reflect strength, peace, purpose, and yes, results. Greatness does not begin with the world clapping for you. It begins with a quiet mind, choosing higher thoughts in the silence. You see, we all live two lives. The life we live, and the life we could have lived. And the only thing standing between the two is mindset. Every man has been given the same invisible gift, the power to shape his world from the inside out, but most never unwrap it. They wait for permission. They wait for guarantees. Losers wait. Winners begin. And here's what's remarkable. You don't need anyone's belief in you to begin living differently. You don't need ideal conditions. You don't need all the answers. All you need is to change the way you think and act accordingly. When you think like a loser, you sabotage your future with tiny thoughts. You assume the worst. You avoid discomfort. You compare yourself endlessly and resent those who move ahead. But the moment you choose better thoughts, thoughts of purpose, gratitude, courage, and discipline, you start to take different actions. And those actions echo. They compound. They build momentum. There's a reason the winners of life often seem calm, patient, even quiet. It's because they've stopped reacting. They've taken command of the one thing that matters, their own thinking. And let me tell you, when you no longer believe the lies of your own fear, you become powerful beyond measure. Thinking like a loser is easy. It's natural. It fits in well with a world that celebrates surface, distraction, and quick comfort. But thinking like a winner, that set's rare. It's bold. It's defiant. It refuses to believe that your worth is defined by what others think. The man who wins in life isn't always the one with talent or the best education. It's the one who refuses to let weak thoughts take root. The one who wakes up with a mind guarded like a fortress, who feeds it with truth, strength, vision, and focus. Now I want to challenge you. Not tomorrow. Now, take an inventory of your thoughts. What have you been rehearsing in your mind? What thoughts have you given your loyalty to? If your thoughts were seeds, what kind of harvest are you expecting? Because a man cannot plant weeds and grow roses. A man cannot think small and build something great. A man cannot water fear and expect courage. But you, yes, you have the power to change all of that. Not by force, not by luck, but by decision. A decision to no longer entertain the thinking that shrinks you. A decision to elevate the standards of your inner world. A decision to think every single day like someone who was born to build, to serve, and to lead. That SIP's not a fantasy. That SIP's not a dream. That SET's your birthright. But you must think like it. And if you don't STET, no one will do it for you. Say continue when you're ready for part 5. Certainly. Here is part 5 of the Earl Nightingale style speech on the topic, Stop Thinking Like a Loser. I want to leave you with a truth that is as old as time. You are always programming your mind. Whether you realize it or not, whether you're intentional or not, your thoughts are forming pathways, routes your life will eventually follow. If you constantly think like a victim, you will attract circumstances that prove you right. If you constantly think with resentment, your life will grow heavy with bitterness. But if you think with vision, your life will stretch toward it. If you think with faith, with purpose, and with discipline, your days will begin to reflect those same qualities. Remember, the world is not responsible for your mindset. The economy is not. Your past is not. Your critics certainly are not. You are. Winners don't have more hours in the day, they just think better thoughts during those hours. They've trained their minds to work for them, not against them. They understand that temporary failure is not a signal to quit, but a signal to refine. They do not wait to feel confident. They act with courage until confidence shows up. They don't instead ask, is it easy? They ask, is it worth it? And when doubt knocks, they don't invite it in for tea. They recognize it, challenge it, and move forward anyway. You must do the same. Stop waiting for the world to believe in you. Stop waiting for the pain to vanish. Stop waiting for the conditions to be perfect. You want a better life. Think a better thought. You want new results? Feed your mind new ideas. You want to feel alive again? Starve your fears and feed your purpose. You were not made to merely survive. You were not made to repeat old patterns, recycle old disappointments, or rehearse the same tired fears. You were made to lead a life that means something. But that begins with your mind. And it begins today. From this moment on, commit to catching every loser thought the moment it rises. And don't just reason with it. Replace it. Replace it with a thought that speaks to who you are becoming, not who you've been. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not your excuses. You are potential. You are direction. You are a decision away from an entirely different life. And if you think like a man who knows that, then soon you will live like a man who proves it. Now let me leave you with this. Every day and every hour, you are casting a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. And that vote is your thought. Will you vote for fear today, or will you vote for faith? Will you cast a ballot for weakness, for compromise, for just enough? Or will you rise quietly, firmly, and vote for excellence, discipline, and purpose? That is not a question of talent. That's not a matter of luck. It is simply this. Are you willing to think like someone who was meant to do something meaningful with their life? The man who thinks like a loser cannot escape it. Not with more money, not with more praise, not with more time. But the man who thinks like a winner, long before the world recognizes him, already walks in peace, in power, in quiet confidence. He doesn't chase approval. He doesn't complain. He doesn't wait for success. He becomes success internally and lets the world catch up. So I ask you now, what thoughts will you allow to shape your life from this moment forward? What story will you continue to tell yourself? And more importantly, believe. This world will not give you what you deserve. It will give you what you demand, through your thinking, your habits, and your standards. So raise them. Set your mind on what you want, and do not let it drift. Catch the weak thought. Replace it with truth. Catch the bitter thought. Replace it with gratitude. Catch the fearful thought. Replace it with action. You don't have to shout. You don't have to prove anything. But you do have to think like a man who refuses to lose. Not because he sets arrogant, but because he knows the moment he stops thinking like a loser, he sets already won. Now the fighters. I forge none the quendabes, reminding you that the strangest secret is still true. We become what we think about. So, think well, and think forward. Your life depends on it.